tarp on the field throughout the morning. Possibly the lightest of drizzles right now, but we're dry enough to start. I think this is the last day we'll talk about summer because it's Labor Day. And rookie right-hander Daniel McCutchen is set to work against Kosuke Fukudome, and he takes strike one on the outside corner. .67 degrees. Wind not blowing very hard. And that's in the dirt. We'll set the Cubs Pepsi lineup for you momentarily. Kick and the pitch. A high fly ball. Fairly deep, but Lasting's Millage will make the catch, and that's the first out. Here's the Cubs Pepsi lineup against the rookie McCutchen. Brought to you by Pepsi. Refresh everything. Terrio coming up. He had the day off yesterday. Lee Ramirez, the former Pirate. Good numbers for Milton Bradley here at PNC. Jeff Baker at second. Bobby Scales another start at left, and Hill and Lilly will go 8 and 9. Swing and a miss by Terrio.
I'll tell you what Daniel McCutchen features before we get much further into this ball game. He's got a fastball in the low to mid 90s, a little bit of a slider. His best pitch in his own estimation is a straight changeup. He also throws a split-fingered fastball. He said the reason he had success in AAA this year was his ability to throw the changeup more often in fastball counts, something the Cubs may want to keep in the back of their mind.
His major league debut went okay. Got a no decision a week ago at Cincinnati. 6 innings, 3 runs on 5 hits.
He's one of 4 players that the Pirates acquired from the New York Yankees in the Xavier Nady trade. Ross Ohlendorf has already won 11 games this year for the big league Pirates. McCutchen on the mound today was named the most valuable pitcher in AAA this season. Another player involved in that deal, Jose Tabata, was named the most valuable player in AAA. This is the kind of deal that the Pirates have made not only this season but throughout the last 4 or 5 seasons, trading away veteran players, trying to get some young prospects, and hope that they continue to blossom as a member of the Buccos.
Terrio hanging in there, still 0-2 on the Cubs shortstop. Now the thing you wonder about, and it'll be interesting to see how the Cubs fare against McCutchen over their last 4 games. 3 starters in particular: Carlos Torres, Bobby Parnell, and Mike Pelfrey. 22 combined innings, only 1 run allowed against the Cubs. And these are not household names, and certainly McCutchen, in just his 2nd major league start, would fit into that category, even though Mike Pelfrey certainly had some experience over the past couple of years and had success last year, but was not putting together a very solid 2009 up until yesterday. That's cued off the end of the bat. It'll be picked up by Delwyn Young, who throws him out.
Well, get your programs out. This is September Pittsburgh Pirates baseball. Lasting's Millage in left field, Andrew McCutchen in center, Brandon Moss over in right field, Andy LaRoche in third, former Cub Ronnie Cedeno at shortstop, Delwyn Young over at second base. Garrett Jones, quite a surprise here in the second half of the season, will be playing first base. The closest thing they have to a veteran, Ryan Domet, will be behind the plate today for right-hander Daniel McCutchen.
First baseman Derek Lee. High in the air, well hit, straightaway center. McCutchen's back on the warning track. There is number 30 for D. Lee. Had a quiet day on his 34th birthday yesterday, but not quiet today. And he is the 8th Cub to have at least 3 30-homer seasons. 46 back in 05, 32 his first year in 04, and 30 here in 2009.
Well, you documented the offensive struggles of the Cubs against pitchers that they're not really familiar with. That doesn't seem to affect Derek Lee in the least. He has hit some balls with authority recently. That one to straightaway center field.
His 94th run driven in.
Well, there's one for Dylan.
He's hit 3 home runs since the birth of his son Dylan. 2 on Saturday, and 1 today as Ramirez takes a big hack. On a 2-0 now, it's 2-1 on the former Pirate. Starting to rain just a little bit harder. But I believe if the Pirates saw that it was going to rain really hard here in the next hour or so, they probably would not have started when they did. Garrett Jones on the right side will make the catch, and that's the inning. Derek Lee with a 2-out solo home run. The Cubs won, the Pirates coming out. They try to locate that Derek Lee home run ball. Andrew McCutchen, Rookie of the Year candidate in center. Former Cub Ronnie Cedeno at short. Another Rookie of the Year possibility. Garrett Jones at first. Millage, Domick, Young in the middle. Moss, Andy LaRoche, and Daniel McCutchen at the bottom.
Let's check out how the Cubs take the field defensively behind Ted Lilly today. Brought to you by Pepsi. Pepsi, refresh everything. Scales, Fukudome, and Bradley across the outfield. Ramirez at third base. Ryan Theriot back in the lineup after a day off yesterday. Andres Blanco set the bar pretty high defensively. Jeff Baker over at second. Derek Lee at first. Coy Hill doing the catching today for left-hander Ted Lilly.
Up and in on Andrew McCutchen, the exciting young center fielder, as Lilly tries to become the first Cub to 11 wins. Randy Wells pitched well enough to get there yesterday. 1 earned run in 6 innings, but suffered the loss. Ted's been a lot better at home than on the road, and it's interesting when you look at his road numbers. He's 3-7 with a 4.75, but he's gone 3-0 in Houston and 0-7 everywhere else on the road. Not too many guys have been better at home in baseball. He's 7-1.
We showed you the numbers in 150 and a third innings pitched so far this year. Only 29 walks on the season for Ted Lilly. He's had 9 starts this year where he didn't walk a batter. And what does he do? Walked Andrew McCutchen to start the game for the Pirates.
Greg Gibson will call the balls and strikes. Tim McClellan, the crew chief, at first. Rob Drake at second. Andy Fletcher is at third. Ronnie Cedeno acquired from Seattle in the Jack Wilson deal on July 29th. And Ronnie's in there at short. And he bunts, foul.
You see the huge differential for Ted Lilly pitching at Wrigley Field as opposed to pitching in the road ballparks. You can whittle that ERA down a little bit here today in Pittsburgh.
Here he comes to the plate, ground ball, and a backhanded play, nicely done. They get two. Baker with the glove-to-glove flip to Terrio, and they turn the 4-6-3.
Jeff Baker, it looked like that ball just stuck in the pocket of his glove. Had trouble kind of getting it out, shoveling it over to Ryan Terrio, who has to reach back behind his left shoulder to get that toss. Right there, able to drag the right foot across the bag, and just in time to get Cedeno at first to complete the double play.
And here's a guy you gotta be careful with. They're calling him the legend here. Garrett Jones had the game-ending RBI single yesterday to beat the Cardinals, and that snapped the Pirates' 9-game losing streak. He didn't come up to the majors until the end of June. And he's putting together a pretty amazing rookie season. He was born in Harvey, Illinois.
He's been much better against right-handed pitching since coming up to the major leagues, hitting .347 with 10 home runs, rather 13 home runs against right-handed pitching. .234 with 5 bombs against the lefties.
Went to Andrew High School in Tinley Park, and the Braves took him in the 14th round in '99. He's not a hot, or wasn't a hot prospect. He signed a minor league deal with the Pirates prior to this year, former Minnesota Twin, and he strikes out against Lilly to end the first. The Cubs lead 1-0 after 1. Holiday. So far the weather is cooperating. We haven't seen the sun yet, but we started on time as Milton Bradley will face Daniel McCutchen. And takes strike one on a fastball, registering at 93. Bradley hitting .367 with 3 homers and 12 RBIs over his last 49 at bats. Swing and a miss. And now ball and 2 strikes. Cubs with a couple of day-to-day injuries. Andres Blanco with a tweaked left hamstring on that double yesterday as Bradley strikes out. And Sam Fuld also aggravated his left wrist on that ball in center field yesterday. And Randy Wells with a tough loss, his 8th of the year, even though his ERA is under 3. He's only 10-8. Well, you play the what-if game with Randy, and he could have 15, 16 wins, no problem.
Easily.
Jeff Baker takes it low. I guess Sam Fuld originally hurt his wrist banging into the wall at Wrigley Field. And that's going to happen when you play outfield like Sam Fuld does. Flying into the wall in L.A. a couple of times. The 2-0 to Baker is a strike, 2-1.
Now, there's no question Sam Fuld is a maximum effort player when he's on that field, and sometimes those guys push it right to the limit.
Backhanded by Cedeno, and the throw is right on the money as he threw off balance. Can't look at this enough.
This is as good as it gets. Lou Pinella's seen an awful lot of baseball games. He said it might be the best play he's ever seen a shortstop make. And the throw is what made the play. He was on his rear end tumbling backwards, almost blindly threw across the diamond, and it was right on the money to Derek Lee. Tremendous, tremendous play.
Randy Wells said that was nothing compared to some of the plays he's made at Iowa at the AAA level. So maybe he has some more tricks up his sleeve. Hamstring's feeling better. Not in the lineup today. He was filling in for Ryan Theriot. Bobby Scales with his 3rd consecutive start in left. McCutchen, a 13th round pick of the Yankees out of the University of Oklahoma in 2006. Born in McKinney, Texas, but he went to high school in Norman, Oklahoma. That's the same alma mater as his manager, John Russell. Russell also went to Oklahoma, so a nice connection between starting pitcher and skipper. Ground ball toward right, and it glances off the glove of Galvin Young. Scales will hold with a single. Second Cubs hit.
Bobby Scales pulling that ball to the right side. Play right in front of him. He could see Delwyn Young make that dive, and the ball just deflected off the glove on into right field for a base hit.
It's getting a little hazier. Some of the fans now are starting to leave their seats from the lower grandstand as it's raining just a little bit harder. But it always rains at least once, it seems, when we come to Pittsburgh. So hopefully this is it. We'll be okay the rest of the series as Hill pops it up into left. And Millage makes the catch. Well, that was a major league pop fly off the bat of Coy Hill. 2-out single, no runs. Cubs lead 1-0 early. Pittsburgh. As the Cubs lead 1-0. We hope it's not raining where you are. You're able to get that grill out today. What would you be firing up today on the grill if you had that chance?
Oh boy. Well, obviously some sweet corn. It's a good time of year for the sweet corn, and it's best on the grill. I love that.
Lasting's Millage taking ball 2.
Maybe some ballpark steak, some hot dogs on the grill, maybe a brat.
Throw some asparagus on that grill too.
Well, if you come over, I will.
2-1 on Millage, who's been in a good stretch, hitting .474 over his last 12. And since he was acquired from Washington and came up to the majors, hitting .325 with the Pirates. I'd say that's a deal that has worked out for both teams to this point, even though Nyjer Morgan injured himself at Wrigley Field recently and was done for the year. Swing and a miss, strike 3.
Hey fans, don't miss the action as the Cubs battle the Reds this Sunday. Game time is 1:20, but as always, be sure to arrive early. The first 10,000 fans will receive a Cubs 1984 patch. Compliments of Pepsi and my home away from home, the Lincoln Park Zoo.
Switch hitting catcher Ryan Domit. Inside corner and a strike. The Pirates came back in the bottom of the 9th, scored twice to beat the Cardinals and avoid the sweep yesterday. He had the pinch hit RBI single to tie it. That was before Garrett Jones won it. Domit with some DL time this year because of a fracture in his right wrist. Suffered on a swing back in mid-April. The 0-2 pop foul, and that'll get back to the seats down the left field line.
You mentioned Domit, a switch hitter, which makes him a valuable commodity. The fact that he can catch, he can play first base. When he first came to the major leagues, I believe he played a little bit of outfield, but a switch hitting catcher, especially a guy that can hit with some thump, he's going to have a job for a long time somewhere, either here in Pittsburgh or somewhere else. And talking about that thump, he's got 8 home runs on the season. All 8 have come as a left-handed hitter. Maybe a reflection of that wrist injury that you talked about that he suffered earlier this season.
Long slow wind by the lefty. Fastball that was up and fouled back. Up against the bricks behind home plate. And that's something that certainly every catcher who comes here should know about.
That ball rocketed all the way back on the left side of the infield there after it hit the bricks.
And every base runner should know about those bricks and the caroms they might take. You're standing at third base in a big spot, whether or not you can score on a wild pitch.
Yeah, you see that green padded door back there. If the ball happens to hit that, it'll probably die and stay back there close to the backstop. If it hits the netting, obviously, it's going to stay back there closer to the backstop. There was some signage on the backstop that'll kill a wild pitch or a pass ball hit back in that direction. But if it hits those bricks, it's going to have a lot of action coming back toward the catcher.
Eight 4-hit shutout innings for Lilly against Houston. His last time out. He'll smother that curveball. 2-2. It's Delwyn Young on deck. No play for Derek Lee. Back to August 17th. Basically, since he's come off the DL, a 1.32 ERA. The Cubs have given him, not including today, 3 runs total in support when he's been on the mound over those 4 starts. And that's why he's only 1-1 over that stretch.
the last 6 starts by the Cubs pitchers, the starting pitchers, the ERA 0.70. Can't ask for much more than that out of your starting pitchers.
Doman strikes out. 3 straight for Lilly going back to the first inning.
Battling at bat by Ryan Doman, but Ted Lilly gets the best of it with a fastball up and out over the plate for the swing and miss. An easy thing to point to when you hear those kind of numbers about the starting staff. It's easy to say, well, the offense hasn't scored a lot of runs for them. Well, that's obvious, but also the Cubs defense has really let the pitchers down over the last 7 ball games. 6 unearned runs have scored. He's getting a little loose here at the end of the season. You don't like to see that.
Cubs a bottom 5 in the majors in fielding percentage. The Pirates are number 1 in that category. Lilly strikes out the side. All of the swinging variety. 1-0 Cubs after 2. Zone at WGNTV.com, brought to you by The Great Escape, for up to the minute information and stats designed to give you everything you need to know during the game. The WGN Sports Game Zone is available for every Cubs game and is brought to you by The Great Escape. Pools, patio sets, play sets, hot tubs, and more. You get all that and more.
And more.
What more could you ask for?
And speaking of more, I think there are more Cub fans in the house than Pirate fans today. A lot of blue jackets, blue hats, T-shirts, raincoats,
tattoos. Swing and a miss by Lilly.
Hey, Cub fans, when you're at Wrigley, make sure to buy a bottle of ice-cold Pepsi or Diet Pepsi from a vendor. Then check for the Cubs Win sticker under the bottle for your chance to win an overnight stay at the Abbey Resort and Avani Spa on Lake Geneva at Fontana, Wisconsin. Make sure to buy from your Pepsi vendor for your chance to win with Pepsi in the Abbey Resort.
A strike on Fukudome. I've got to guess, in terms of team logo tattoos, the Cubs are probably right up near the top in Major League Baseball. I don't know how many people are running around with Washington National logos and things tattooed to various body parts. played inside.
I know that a lot of the tattoos, especially those sported by our men and women in the Navy, have snakes on them. So, you know, the Diamondbacks might lay claim to the snake. But as far as just the team logo, I'd have to agree with you.
That Pirate logo, though. That's a call third strike. Fukudome out. Pirate logo might work well. Give you a little toughness. Don't you have a Red Sea tattooed on your... Never mind.
Never mind. It's a birthmark.
Yeah, you're born into it. There's Terrio with 2 outs. Sends that one out into right center. That ball's going to really skid with the wet surface. And you want guys on base for Derek Lee.
He's seeing the ball as big as a beach ball right now. That was a fastball, maybe even off the plate inside, and still quick enough with the bat to get the barrel on and drive it out of here to straightaway center. Yeah, as the rain continues to fall here in Pittsburgh, line drives will hydroplane off the grass in the outfield, but rolling balls that get through the infield will tend to really slow down quickly, and then when the outfielder picks it up, he's going to have a wet baseball to deal with. And the determining factor, as always, for crew chief Tim McClellan is going to be the footing of the players. If you see guys slipping on the mound.
Derek Lee drills it deep to left, and it's gone! A home run! Perfectly placed. He hit a line drive right over the 325 marker, and it's 3-0.
Well, there's one for Jada.
Another 2-homer game on this trip. Now he has 31 on the year.
Derek didn't run immediately out of the batter's box, not because he was posing, but I think he thought that ball was going to hook foul down the left field line, but he caught it so pure it didn't hook. It stayed just inside the foul pole at the 325 mark. Pretty good start to the day for Derek Lee.
Well, yesterday we talked about all the great numbers, offensive explosion on his birthday, which was yesterday. Well, he's surrounded it this year pretty well. 2 the day before, 2 the day after. Ramirez grounds out. All Derek Lee. 2 homers, 3 RBIs. Cubs lead 3-0. How do you think that costume smells after a day like this?
I don't know. I'll tell you, the Parrot works hard. He's all over the ballpark. Rare to see him sit down and enjoy a half inning.
Fifth strikeout for Lilly. LaRoche homered with 1 out. It's now 3-1 Cubs. Highlights and live audio broadcasts. Visit Cubs.com on your iPhone or iPod Touch to purchase. They are putting some diamond dry and some extra dirt on the infield and the pitcher's mound as it continues to rain. And Bob, there is a hot dog on the roof of PNC Park. The Pirate Parrot was shooting hot dogs into the stands. And as always, you wave your hands asking the Parrot to shoot one into our booth, and he tried, and he actually overshot the booth.
Went up on the roof here.
So I guess the birds will have to get it. The Parrot's friends will have to get it a little later.
Yeah, that's fun. I've seen him shoot that hot dog cannon here before when it actually blew up the entire wrapper around the hot dog and scattered bun and cased meat all over the fans right behind that first base dugout, but they seem to all stay in one piece today. One of these days he's going to make it up here. I know Bob Walk, the Pirates TV analyst, has caught a hot dog up here in the booth before, but we're still trying.
And Daniel McCutchen, I guess if he could take away Derek Lee from this Cubs lineup, he's been really good today. But Derek's gotten him twice. Solo homer in the first, a 2-run shot in the third. Milton Bradley taking his second at bat. He's batting fifth. 2-0 the count. Make it 2-1.
That's that straight changeup we talked about at the top of the show. Daniel McCutchen has really worked hard on that pitch. He also throws a split to go along with the straight changeup, and sometimes it's hard to tell the difference between the two.
Ground ball picked up by Garrett Jones, who will take it by himself.
That's a very valuable lesson for a young pitcher to learn. Obviously, Daniel McCutchen has a good arm. He can spot his fastball well, and you can get through the minor leagues with just a fastball and any kind of a breaking ball. But once you get to the major league level, you need something to change speeds with, whether it's a splitter or a changeup or change speeds on your breaking ball. And he's worked very hard on that changeup.
Baker 0 for 1. McCutchen missed on a heater. Heard Greg Gibson say, ball 2. That's Bobby Scales on deck.
Greg Gibson was my first ejection as a manager.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He was umpiring at third base, a game in Arizona, and called a check swing on Mark Grace, who I've said many, many times might have been the best player I ever saw at checking his swing. And Gibson rang him up from third base and eyeballed Gracie all the way back to the dugout until eventually Mark said something, and then Gibson threw him out of the game. Jeff Baker stays hot with a base hit through the left side. So then I commented that perhaps Mr. Gibson should keep his eyes out of the dugout and just pay attention to the field, and he suggested I go take a shower.
You guys are both from Ohio. I thought maybe there was a little bit of a kinship there. Not between the white lines. Scales pops it up. And LaRoche won't have a play. Either done it.
The wind certainly doesn't appear to be any factor at all here today. I mean, the flags are waterlogged at this point, hanging straight down all the way around the ballpark, but there just doesn't seem to be any wind to speak of here at PNC Park.
Bob, how many foul balls have we seen this year that have landed in the front row behind one of the team's dugouts, and a young fan just kind of took her time and walked over and just picked it up? Usually fans are fighting tooth and nail to get a ball in that area. She didn't need her glove.
Yeah.
Just walk over and pick it up off the floor.
I think from experience, the fans here at PNC Park know that over the course of a 9-inning ball game, everybody has a good chance to take home a foul ball.
They have their Pirates parkas on. One on, that's Baker, and a throw over there by McCutchen. He's back. Here's the pitch. Just off the inside corner, 1-2. Rays and Yankees, a split doubleheader in the Bronx. Just underway, bottom 1, 0-0. Derek Jeter is 3 hits away from tying Lou Gehrig's franchise record for hits. So I guess with the split doubleheader, he could tie and pass Lou Gehrig today. Matt Garza and CC Sabathia on the mound. Minnesota leads at Toronto 4-0. 3 RBI hits by the Twins in the first inning. Scott Richmond. Right-hander Jeff Manship making his second major league start for the Twins. He went to Notre Dame.
Looks like McCutchen's having some grip issues with the baseball out there on the mound. Home plate umpire Greg Gibson went to the Pirates dugout and got a fresh rosin bag. As you can imagine, that rosin bag just laying on the back of the mound, soaking up all the rain that's falling here this afternoon. So they tried to give him a new one to get a better grip on the baseball. Let's start to touch on it. Tim McClellan, the crew chief for this umpiring crew here, they'll watch the footing of the batters coming out of the batter's box. They'll watch the footing of the pitcher out there on the mound. They'll make sure that both pitchers have a good grip on the baseball. You just don't want to endanger anybody. And It's the worst problem you have in the rain.
They only get one. Jones to Cedeno to force Baker. Cub fans, Len & Bob's baseball blog has joined Chicago Now. From now on, you can find the same great content from Len & Bob's blog at chicagonow.com/Len & Bob, as well as WGNTV.com. I have a post on the blog today asking a question about the upcoming offseason. Game notes from our friends at StatSync, and much, much more. We'll be recording a special holiday podcast today that should be ready to be viewed tomorrow. Coy Hill at the plate. Cubs lead 3-1. We're in the fourth. Cardinals are in Milwaukee today. Chris Carpenter and Dave Bush not yet underway. Prince Fielder with a game-ending home run, and they had a little choreographed group thing at the plate. He pounced on home plate, and his teammates all fell down in a circle around him as they beat the Giants.
To move 4 games under 500, and they're out there like it's Dancing with the Stars. Choreographed routines at home plate. What's the game coming to?
One strike on Coy Hill. Curious to have heard Mike Kruko's analysis on the Giants TV booth.
It would have been even better to hear what he said off the air. Yeah, Kruk's old school. That's one of those things that kind of falls in that gray area about disrespecting your opponent, disrespecting the game, and certainly people come down on both sides of the issue. They say, hey, it's entertainment. People pay their money to come to the ballpark. They want to be entertained. Well, I agree with Mike. I think the entertainment should come from playing good, solid, fundamental baseball. Not getting undressed as you round the bases and then proving to the world that you can put together a celebration at home plate. Just my opinion.
Well, I have to admit, I did laugh when I saw it. I don't know if that was the intent. Another throw to first.
We know McCutchen can run. We saw him nearly leg out a bunt for a base hit, and appears he has very quick feet on his pickoff attempts at first base as well.
It's floated out into left center, and a diving catch by Lastings Village. Nicely done by the Pirates left fielder. 2 in the inning. A hit, no runs, 3-1 Cubs. saying hi to their grandkids. They're in from Santa Clara, Utah. Rooting on the Cubs today is Ted Lilly. Pitches the bottom of the fourth against Cedeno, Jones, and Millage. The pitch up in the air, foul off the bat of the former Cub. 1-1. And here they go scrambling. Ramirez goes back, but Terrio is under it.
The 2009 Chicago Cubs baseball season on WGN, your official summer baseball station, is brought to you by Bud Light. The difference is drinkability.
First baseman Garrett Jones struck out swinging in the first. Well, the rookie race is going to be pretty interesting. I mean, you have Jones, McCutchen, Wells, Happ, Hanson, just to name a few. Jay Happ, by the way, was scratched today because of a sprained side muscle. So Jamie Moyer will take his start there at Houston. A foul by Jones. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Just missed off the outside edge. Jones leads all National League rookies in homers with 18 and slugging percentage at .617. And second in on base percentage at .377 and batting average over .300. He's made quite a case. And if he hits 20 to 25 homers in half a season, that's pretty hard to ignore. This is just his 59th game this season.
Casey McGee for the Milwaukee Brewers, another former Cub, having a great rookie season, hitting just under .300 going into play today. 13 home runs, 50 runs driven in.
Another 2-2. It's pulled on the ground. Nice scoop by Derek Lee.
You know, his last start against the Houston Astros, Ted Lilly pitched a gem. A little bit of a brain cramp on the bases, however, as he tried to slide head first into second base on a stolen base attempt. You see that little strawberry on the inside of his left elbow right there. That is the residue from that head first slide into second. Not uncommon to see position players have strawberries in that position of their forearms, also on the top of their kneecaps when they slide head first, but it is kind of rare to see a pitcher with a strawberry on his throwing arm.
Millage hits it foul out of play. A lot of foul balls early on. And a Cub fan on the catch.
Gave a high five and dropped the baseball. If you're scoring at home, that's an E fan.
Bounce to Ramirez, who comes in and plays a short hop and gets Millage for Lilly's second 1-2-3 inning through the first 4. 3-1 Cubs. you like to win 5 $5 footlongs from Subway? Just be the 500th texter to text Subway to 97999. Go to WGNTV.com for complete info and rules. Ted Lilly out into center. I think he's going to get the green light to steal.
I don't think so. Throw a rope around that guy. I'll tell you, I don't know if there's a pitcher in baseball that enjoys his 1 day out of 5. Not only just to go out to the mound and pitch, but to be a ball player. Ted Lilly loves to swing the bat. He loves to run the bases. Saw him bowl over Yadier Molina last year on a play at home plate. This guy just likes to play baseball. He just happens to be a really good pitcher.
Got the jacket, batting gloves. Well, he can't steal now. I mean, you can't get that jacket dirty.
Well, it's one thing to get the uniform.
Yeah.
We can wash the dirt out of that.
Yeah. Outside to Kosuke. Ted Lilly, the Cubs Roberto Clemente Award recipient last week, and he's also up for the Marvin Miller Man of the Year Award. You can go to MLBplayers.com to vote as you select the major league player whose on-field performance and contributions to his community inspire others to higher levels of achievement. So the voting will go through this Sunday, the 13th. All 30 clubs have a nominee.
Well, if Ted Lilly was ever going to steal a base, this would be the time to do it. They're playing way behind him at first base with the left-handed hitting Fukudome, but Kosuke draws a walk and sends Ted to second, the easy way.
Let's step aside and see what's coming up on WGN. Well, the Cubs would love to break open a big inning. 2 on with no outs. You have Theriot at the plate and the scorching red hot Derek Lee on deck. Corner men are in. Theriot bunts. McCutchen will throw in time. The second baseman Young covering first.
I think that's the right play. Obviously, it presents the opportunity for the Pirates to walk Derek Lee intentionally with first base open. But Ramos Ramirez has had great career numbers against this Pirates team, too. So this is definitely a pick your poison situation.
And the poison they choose is to face Ramirez.
Well, 2 home runs in your first 2 at-bats will do that. I think even the Pirates fans in attendance today want to see Derek Lee swing the bat.
Well, he's probably going to get another chance or 2 to hit that 3rd home run. But you know, I thought about this before, Bob, just in terms of a single game performance, in terms of a season performance. Why is there basically a range? You know, why doesn't somebody just 1 year hit 700? And it's because other teams won't let you do it. You know, there have been guys who've hit 4 homers in a game, but no one's ever going to hit 6 or probably even 5, because I don't think a team's going to give you that chance. Once you've hit 3 or get to that 4th, who's going to pitch to you? And if you're batting 600 on September 1st, are you ever going to get another pitch to hit?
Well, not me, because I would retire. If I was hitting 600 on September 1st, I would wave goodbye. Put that in the record book. See you later.
But there's kind of the term is regression to the mean, and I think a lot of that has to deal with the success leads other teams to just completely change how they deal with you. And in baseball, that means avoid you at the plate, send you down to first. Pirates want a double play. Inside ball one to Ramirez. I mean, it is theoretically possible a guy could go 500 for 500 in a season. Popped up. That's not terribly deep. And you have Lilly at third. And Millage coming way in. Ted's not going to be able to chance it. 2 outs. So it's up to Bradley here to try to pick up Ramirez with 2 outs.
It looked like Ramirez had a pretty good pitch to hit right there. A hanging changeup up above the belt. Just got under it, hit it a mile high into shallow left field.
A rough time for Ramirez on this trip. He has 1 hit. That was the home run in New York, but he's going 1 for 15. Strike 1 on Bradley. Actually, on 1 for 16. One and one. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Ground ball up the middle. Diving stop. Young. The flip is going to be late. And Bradley will get an RBI on an infield single, and it's 4-1.
That's why everybody has to go hard on everything hit with 2 outs and the bases loaded. You never know where the play is going to be, and Derek Lee gets in, even though Cedeno couldn't hang on to the ball. Looked like Derek Lee beat that throw, or that toss rather, to second base anyway.
And they're still loaded for Baker. That's foul. Jeff 1 for 2 and is now hitting 20 of his last 24. He's been at about a 385, 390 clip during this stretch. 7 hits on the homestand, or on the road trip.
And we talked about it in New York, those 3 games we played in the Big Apple. He was really driving the ball to right field, as good as we've seen any Cub hitter do it this year.
Jones will flip. McCutchen covering first, and that's the inning. The Cubs got 1. Lilly started the inning with a single, later scored on the RBI hit by Bradley. It's now 4-1 Cubs. Game 1 of 3 here in Pittsburgh, and the Cubs lead 4-1. Milton Bradley driving in Ted Lilly. The bases loaded, 2 out, infield hit. Right to Ramirez. Guns it over and gets Doman.
Take a look at the Cubs outfielders, the way they position themselves. Bobby Scales right now is straight up in left field. Kosuke straight up in center field, and Milton Bradley is straight up in right field. And the only reason I point that out is, as we show you in the next inning, the way the Pirates position themselves defensively, their organizational philosophy is to bunch the outfielders toward the gap, try to take away those gappers. Of course, it leaves you susceptible down the right and left field line, but just a difference in philosophy of the two organizations. The Cubs spread their outfielders out a little bit, try to cover as much ground as possible, where the Pirates try to bunch the outfielders and take away the areas where most of the base hits go.
Two and one, Delwyn Young. So Ted trying to get these final 2 outs, make this game official. And that's bigger deal for the Cubs and the Pirates right now, because they're ahead 4-1. And it has been raining throughout.
It started in a very light mist. It's gradually gotten heavier as the afternoon has gone on.
The 3-1 to Young. Ball 4. Let's check out who's moving forward with Toyota, as the truck just ran over half the defense. Ted Lilly and Jamie Moyer, Adam Wainwright, going back to 2007, tied for the National League lead in wins. That's today's Toyota moving forward, thanks to Toyota. Swing and a miss by Brandon Moss. You go back to 06, 57 wins for Ted, ranking 3rd among major league lefties. CC Sabathia and Johan Santana, the only 2 lefties ahead of him. Young at first, 1 out, and a 1-1 pitch. That's pretty well hit. Fukudome back on it, deep left center. It's going to land right at the edge of the warning track. Young's going to be sent home by Tony Beasley. Terrio will not make a throw, and it's now 4-2. Brandon Moss gave it a ride.
Because of his swing, Moss got a lot of backspin on that drive just to the left to straightaway center field. That ball got up in the air and just continued to carry all the way to the warning track in nearly the deepest part of the ballpark. Young scores easily all the way from first base. Gonna throw short hop Ryan Terrio right there. Possibly a chance for a play at the plate, but when he had to play that throw on a hop, it eliminated any chance of getting the lead runner at home.
Ball 1 to LaRoche. Ted working on his footing on the mound. We're getting to a point where this is starting to become a different sort of game than you normally see. I think guys will be less likely to take chances, maybe on the bases, and also conversely, maybe on that play we just saw, Ryan Terrio not making a throw. With a wet baseball, you don't want to air man 1, and all of a sudden Moss is able to move from 2nd to 3rd. We're not quite at the point where was it Game 5 of the World Series was last year? Oh my. Kind of hard to believe they continued to play. That was as wet a field as I've ever seen.
And we showed you that shot a few innings ago. The grounds crew came out between innings and threw some of that diamond dry all over the field, which will help soak up some of the moisture. But the problem then becomes that diamond dry tends to clump up in your cleats. You've seen a lot of players banging their cleats together. The batter using the bat to knock the diamond dry out of their shoes. I just saw Daniel McCutchen in the on deck circle go back over to the steps of the dugout, bang his feet on the concrete steps. And it looks like we're going to get another dose of diamond dry here in the very near future.
Really being careful with LaRoche, who homered off him the last time around. The pitcher is on deck. There is ball 4. So that was not intentional, but nothing closer to that than unintentional. Ted walking 3 in a game for the first time since May 29th. In fact, in 3 starts in July, he walked 3 total, and the same went for August. So the corner men are in as they expect McCutchen to try to put 2 in scoring position and set up Andrew McCutchen to try to tie it up. Pulled the bat back, took ball 1. Did that pitch count? They have not put it up yet on the scoreboard. We'll find out. Bunted foul. They have an 0-1 count on the board, which makes me think Greg Gibson had called time before the first pitch. And normally when the board is wrong, the home plate umpire will look and make the hand signals to make the correction, but he hasn't done it. So we'll assume it's 0-1.
Because of the conditions today, and you couple that with the fact that Ted Lilly has made 5 errors on the season, you'd really like to see Aramis Ramirez handle this bunt rather than Ted Lilly.
It came back up and I think hit McCutchen. It did, and makes it foul.
McCutchen showed his speed in his last at bat trying to leg out a bunt for a base hit. That time got a little ahead of himself, was really running before he successfully got that ball down on the ground. Came back up and looked like it hit him on the left arm as he was making his way, and you could see that baseball with a big clump of mud on it after it hit that dirt in front of home plate. That's what guys are going to have to deal with when the ball hits that area in front of home plate.
Well, now it says 1-2, so first pitch did count. Called strike 3. That was a nasty curveball. McCutchen thought wasn't going to be a strike, and was.
Well, Ted has used that big curveball sparingly in the ball game today. It's not unusual for him to save that pitch until the second or third time through a batting order, or to save it when he really has a tough situation that he needs to pitch out of, and that time he locked up the Pirates pitcher.
He now faces a leadoff man, Andrew McCutchen, who has yet to put a ball in play. He walked to lead off the bottom of the first and then struck out swinging in the third. Curve in there, strike 1. We could be nearing a delay, and I say that because the edges of the infield are starting to shine. I'm talking about the dirt area, which means they're starting to puddle up a little bit. And I think Tim McClellan is waiting until we get through this 5th inning to make this an official game before possibly calling for the target. The 0-2, a fly ball center field. Fukudome is there, and the inning is over. So it is an official game. We'll keep an eye on Tim McClellan after 5, 4-2 Cubs.
at Ticketmaster.com. That's Paramore, October 10th, brought to you by Bud Light. Bud Light, the difference is drinkability.
Looks like they're sprinkling cinnamon all over the field. Guys collecting mud. McCutchen just now will be taking his warm-up tosses for the 6th with the Cubs leading 4-2.
This ground crew is very familiar with trying to dry up a wet field. As you mentioned before, it seems like we get at least one day, if not more, of rain every time we come here to Pittsburgh.
Time to have a ball with our friends at the Illinois Lottery. The kids are off today. I guess some might be starting school tomorrow. So enjoying a day at the ballpark. Mega Millions can find you every Tuesday and Friday. Mega Millions, have fun responsibly. Also a reminder, the Jerry Lewis MDA Labor Day Telethon will continue right after our ball game up until 7 o'clock Central Time. The MDA helps patients with 40 neuromuscular diseases, including ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease. And there are people standing by during the game to take your call at 1-866-565-4946. Again, the Jerry Lewis MDA Labor Day Telethon will follow the ball game right here on WGN. So we continue to wait. And while we do, let's step aside and see what's coming up on WGN. Bob, I give Tim McClellan a lot of credit. He's doing what he can to continue this game. It has never really rained hard. It has just been steady throughout the day. And instead of just saying, you know what, let's call for the tarp, and you probably waste both starting pitchers, he's doing everything he can to get this thing in. And I think he realizes that the rain's probably not going to stop. So once we do interrupt the action, that could be it.
And it has slowed again. I mentioned it started in a very light mist. It gradually got heavier as the game went on, but now it's back to that very light mist again. I think we're just going to have to deal with this all day.
The soggy pierogi race coming up. It's a little too happy. Bobby Scales takes a strike. The Pirates are right on the edge of their 17th straight losing season. They have 81 losses. Their next defeat will clinch it. And that would be not only a major league record, 17 consecutive losing campaigns, but it would be a record for all the 4 major sports. Only other baseball team that has had 16 consecutive losing seasons was the Phillies from 1933 to 48.
And reading some of the comments in the local paper from the Pirates players, you know, we ask a lot, what do you play for at this time of year when you're out of the race? Well, it's not much for them to cling to either, but they're going to try to win every game the rest of the year and avoid that losing season. Chances of that happening are microscopic, but it gives them something to play for on a daily basis.
I guess if they win 28 in a row, they can avoid it. Scale strikes out.
And more so than anything else, this Pirates ball club, and I think we talked about it last time we were here in Pittsburgh, is A lot of these guys are playing for jobs next year. A lot of young players, a lot of very untested players that are going to get an opportunity in this last month to show the Pirates organization whether they belong with this team in the future or they need to keep searching.
McCutchen chases after it and won't make a throw. He really slipped with his footing as he went to pick up that ball. That'll be a hit for Coy, and he's 1 for 3.
That ball hard right back up the middle. McCutchen knocked it down. No play for anybody else on that right side of the infield. You could see that slight slip right there as McCutchen tried to wheel and make the throw to first base. Now, this is the point of the ball game where the coaching staff probably reminds the players each half inning as they go out to take their position. Keep your feet under you. Don't overextend. It's almost like occasionally you have to kind of tippy-toe after the ball just to make sure you keep your feet under you, make sure you have a base.
Bunted by Lilly, it's foul.
And you really get out there and get extended like McCutchen very nearly did on that play on the right side. That's when injuries can happen rather quickly on a sloppy wet field.
Ted ready to try it again. One and one. Kosuke on deck. Cubs are in second in the division, but 11.5 behind St. Louis. In the wild card race are now 8 back of Colorado. And Ted apparently went around. That's a strikeout. Able to pull the bat back. Yeah, he did.
Just kind of stabbed at it a little bit until he realized the pitch was going to be down out of the strike zone and pulled it back too late.
Hill still at first. It's Fukudome with 2 gone. The pitch. Ground ball to short. Cedeno scooting over to his right. The throw goes to first, and he gets it. Bottom 6, Cubs lead by 2.
season, the 8th player in Cubs history with 3 30-homer seasons. Andy LaRoche with his 8th home run of the season. Milton Bradley also drove home a run with an infield base hit. Visit your Honda dealer and test drive a 2009 Honda Accord.
Ronnie Cedeno here in the last of the 6th. A strike from Ted Lilly. The rain has almost completely stopped. Cedeno batting second in the Pirates lineup. Don't want to let him get on with the home run hitting Garrett Jones coming up next. Pirates have only 2 hits, but they were both run scoring extra base hits. A home run by LaRoche and a double by Moss. 1 and 2. Willie rocks and fires, and a pop-up sending Terrio out into shallow left. Arms spread out as he'll take it. Comes Jones for the 3rd time. Congrats to Ichiro Suzuki. Got his 2,000th major league hit yesterday. 2nd fastest player to get there. 1,402 games. Al Simmons reached 2,000 hits in his 1,390th game. Ichiro also with almost 1,300 hits in Japan. That's a lot of hits. 3,278. Lee the flip, Lilly covering.
And Jones put that ball right down the first base line. Dealey had to back up a step or 2 to get it. That's one of the easiest tosses for a first baseman. You can see he was almost directly in line with the base and Ted Lilly. As Ted ran over there to cover the bag, he just tossed it right above the base and let Ted Lilly run right into it.
Feels like it's cooling off a little bit. We started today in the mid to upper 60s. Pretty heavy air. Here's the 0-1 to Millage. Make it 0-2. Pirates tweaked their rotation. They were going to go with Charlie Morton tomorrow night and then Zach Duke Wednesday, but instead it'll be Duke tomorrow and former Cub Kevin Hart against Carlos Zambrano. Ryan Dempster will pitch tomorrow night against Duke. Called strike 3, and the inning is over. Ted Lilly through 6 with a 4-2 lead.
Surratt with our Labor Day tribute. Todd Rundgren with Bang the Drum All Day. That's today's Bud Light Fan Cam with just the right taste that never fills you up. The difference is drinkability.
Just want to bang on the drum all day. It's one way to spend your Labor Day.
Yeah, unless you're a drummer for a living, then you don't want to do that.
Right. Because that's what you normally do. That's a flaw in that song that I think hadn't been pointed out for about 30 years till now. That song is for everybody in the world except for drummers.
Except for drummers.
So we need to come up with a Labor Day song for drummers. It has been pointed out that brake repairmen might also be a group that was sliding. As Brandon Ross goes back and makes a catch and right.
Probably oil workers as well, you know.
Yeah.
Oil drums.
I don't want a drum. I want a whatever all day. Trying to make some noise.
It's really concerned.
Derek Lee gets a hold of one again, but it'll be caught by McCutchen. Daniel McCutchen has pitched to Derek 3 times. He's hit 2 homers in that Baraka for now.
In past trips here to Pittsburgh, we had the LaRoche brothers on the corners of the infield. Andy at third and Adam over at first. And for this ball game today, we've got a McCutchen at the top of the batting order and a McCutchen at the bottom of the batting order. What is it about the Pirates?
Yeah. There's a former Pirate, John Graybo, pretty familiar with this ballpark. And the 2-0 to Ramirez. Oh, I got a big piece of Ryan Doman.
Has to be a little odd for John Graybo being a left-hander. Just get another look at that foul tip. A direct hit on Ryan Doman. Graybo being a left-handed pitcher, he's facing right into his old bullpen. All of his former teammates, or at least some of his former teammates, right there in front of him as he warms up.
Pulled off third base. Millage will have to chase it down into the left field corners. Ramirez will have a double. That hit the bag. And he has his first hit of the day.
Right off the base. Shoots it right down that chalk line. I don't believe Andy LaRoche was going to have a play on that ball. It looked like it was going to shoot past him into the left field corner anyway. But just to make sure it's a fair ball, it hits the bag. Dribbles out into shallow field. You saw a grimace right there from Aramis Ramirez as he rounded first base.
Bradley with an RBI infield single his last time. Foul ball, strike 1. A lot of day action today on Labor Day. Rays and Yankees 1-1 in the 4th. First of a day-night doubleheader. Minnesota 5. The Blue Jays 1 in the 3rd. In Canada, Boston leads the White Sox 1-0. Bottom of the 1st. In Chicago, high in the air. Millage. And that's it. They will get up and stretch here in Pittsburgh. It's 4-2 Cubs. as the Cubs lead 4-2. Ted Lilly, excellent again. 6 innings, 2 hits, 2 runs. And for the Cubs, it's their 83rd quality start. And for the starting pitchers over the last 7 games, 5 earned runs. So as Graybo gets ready to work, let's take a look ahead at basically the rest of the schedule. There's one day we missed. That's October 4th against Arizona. But that's it. So after this trip, only one more. And it's a 10-gamer through St. Louis, Milwaukee, and San Francisco. Homestands, Reds and Brewers starting Friday, and then the Pirates and D-backs to wrap it up. And that 30th date against the Pirates is a day-night twin bill.
And I wonder how much the conditions here today played a factor in taking Ted Lilly out of this ball game after 6 innings. He didn't appear to be in any unusual trouble or anything like that, but as you get fatigued out there on the mound, your legs aren't quite as strong as they were earlier in the ball game, and maybe Lou and Larry just don't want to risk any kind of a slip or any kind of an injury to Ted Lilly. He's pitched a great ball game up to this point, turned over to the bullpen.
So Graybo starts the inning. It's like Angel Guzman has also started to throw in the bullpen if needed here in this inning, and possibly later in the 8th. Tony Beasley with the pick. Well, Ryan Doumit has had a tough year. We mentioned the injury, also recently benched after a helmet slamming incident in Milwaukee. I guess part of the helmet came back up and hit his teammate Luis Cruz, and nobody's really talked about it specifically, but what I read sounds like there have been whispers, questioning Doumit's effort and attitude, but I think that's all in the past now. And back in the lineup. Sure, it's been frustrating for Doumit and some of the other, the few veterans who haven't been traded to deal with a lot of their good friends being sent elsewhere. That's become an all too familiar refrain here in Pittsburgh. But that's the way it is. You got to deal with it. Called strike 3 to get Doumit.
Saw Ted Lilly do this to a couple of the Pirate hitters. A lot of off-speed pitches early in the sequence, and then freeze them with a fastball in the strike zone for a called strike 3.
First pitch swinging, Delwyn Young. He grounds out to short. 2 quick outs.
It's especially effective for Ted Lilly because of his very slow wind-up and delivery. And he throws the big curveball. He'll throw a straight changeup, and it kind of gets the hitter into that same rhythm where everything's slow, and when you get to 2 strikes and he speeds up that arm and throws a fastball right down the middle of the plate, and hitters just can't pull the trigger.
Moss 1 for 2 with an RBI double. John Graybo with a nice job. As Derek will take it by himself. And back here in Pittsburgh for the first time against the Pirates. He goes 1-2-3 in the 7th. going to show his face. Yes, there he is. Cubs fan rooting for his team. Cubs baseball in high definition is sponsored by Comcast. As right-hander Denny Bautista will take over for Daniel McCutchen, who wasn't bad, but Derek Lee was a thorn in his side. Gave up 4 runs in 7 innings.
And McCutchen gave up at least 1 base hit in every one of the 7 innings. Gave up 2 in the 5th and 2 in the 3rd. Well, you can see why the Pirates are a little excited about the right-hander. He's got a chance to be a good one.
Ball 1 to Jeff Baker. Bautista, tall and lanky, 6'5", 195. He's bounced around a lot since '04. Baltimore, Kansas City, the Rockies, the Tigers, and now the Pirates. Here's his 1-1. Just missed. Bautista's gotten some assistance from his cousin Pedro Martinez. Taught him the grip on his curve, changeup, and 2-seamer. Baker will be followed by Bobby Scales and Coy Hill. Fouled back. Bautista takes his time. Well, John Grabo didn't.
Well, and there's a fine line between working too quickly and working too slowly. And every pitcher has to find out what works best for him. But for me, I think the longer you stand there and stare at your target and think about the pitch you're trying to execute, the less your chance of actually executing the pitch. Maybe Bautista's had some problems in the past working too quickly, and this is an effort to go completely in the other direction.
Pirates athletic trainer checking on the home plate umpire Greg Gibson. He took that foul ball off the mask. Has a very different sound off the hockey style mask versus the old school mask.
He's indicated kind of on the outside of the right jaw line there. Kind of a glancing blow. It's easy for me to say. I'm sitting 700 feet from the field, but doesn't appear to be that damaging. Let's take a listen. I stand correct. That buckled his chin down toward his chest pretty good right there.
We resume with a 2-2 count on Baker. The pitch. Hit foul again. Heard somebody say, all right, Bake, come on, Bake. I don't know if that was Mike Quaddy at third. Swing and a miss. Maybe it was a fan in the stands talking on the cell phone about dinner later. Come on, Bake.
Extended at bat there by Jeff Baker against Bautista. Bautista, like we talk about sometimes, had a pitch in his back pocket. He didn't show that curveball until the very last pitch to Jeff Baker for strike 3. You kind of get into a rhythm as that bat goes on longer and longer. You see that fastball in the low 90s. You see the movement on the pitch. You see the hard slider. You kind of feel like you're in rhythm with everything he's throwing, and then he drops a slow curveball on you, and you haven't seen that one yet in the sequence. It'll be tough to make contact.
Bautista has a sign from Doman. $14,673 battling the rain today. A fly to shallow right. Moss will get there. Now, we have talked about this particular issue many times. This is a very good baseball town, and the combination of what will end up being 17 straight losing seasons, and I think the success of the Steelers and the Penguins and the Pirates have kind of become an afterthought. But if they had a winning record, this place would probably be full today, even with the bad weather. Or Labor Day in Pittsburgh, you go back to the heyday. This would have been a big day.
Well, we know the reasons why the roster has turned over as often and as rapidly as it has here in Pittsburgh, but it makes it tough for the fans. You know, you want to have a group of players that you can attach yourself to and get to know a little bit, and it seems like every couple of years they're recycling the roster. It looked like either one of the Pirates might have been able to make a play on that ball had they been able to get over to that railing quicker, rather than trying to time it as the ball was coming down and they got to the rail at the same time. If either one of them would have got to the rail quickly, they might have been able to make a play there. That ball hit just on the first step right there.
The 0-2 to Hill is outside. I don't know if the coaching staff realized those guys were there. Although I'm not sure what they really can do there.
Okay. Yeah, no shit.
Tapper right at the plate. Foul.
Well, if Coyle's able to reach base here, it looks like Micah Hoffpower's in the on-deck circle to take the at-bat. Think he can reach the river? There's only been one ball hit in the air into the Allegheny River. Former Cub Darrell Ward, when he was playing for the Houston Astros, I believe.
Yeah, I do think Micah could get it into the river. That was in 2002 with the Astros. Called strike 3. So Bautista took his time, but worked a 1-2-3-8. Looks like Guzman's coming on.
straightaway center field. And as if that was not enough in the third inning, it's one right down the left field line for home run number 31 on the season. We'll also do an intentional walk line down to center field. Derek Lee, our AM/PM player of the game. Too much good stuff.
Sam Fuld comes in to play left for Bobby Scales, straight up, meaning he'll hit 7th in the lineup, and the new pitcher is Angel Guzman. And he faces Andy LaRoche with a pinch hitter on deck. Looks like Ramon Vasquez is going to take the at bat for Bautista. But first, it's LaRoche. Fastball at 95, a little too high. We saw Angel hit 101 on our gun at Wrigley Field recently. Cutter for a strike at 89. The kick, the 1-1.
Oh, no.
A few offensive highlights of the game today for the Buccos. Andy LaRoche against Ted Lilly back in the third inning with one out. Home run into the bleachers in left center field. You could hear the rain crackling on our field mics.
Sam Fuld lays out, makes the catch. That's pretty big. That keeps a tying run in the on-deck circle as LaRoche was bidding for extra bases. So he just came in for defense and comes through.
Good for Sam Fuld. That's a routine catch. He didn't have to run into anything. Sinking line drive off the bat of Andy LaRoche is able to keep his glove underneath that ball, hold it up, and show it to the umpire. Big first out.
See, he's got that left wrist taped with the blue tape. Try to keep it stable. And here's Vasquez. Pinch hitting for Bautista.
Oh, it's out.
Baker out, Bradley in. It's Jeff Baker, 2 outs. Steven Jackson up for the home team. McCutchen, a former first rounder out of Fort Meade, Florida. Former #1 prospect of the Pirates, according to Baseball America. Well, it was Graybo at a 1-2-3 7th. Guzman a 1-2-3 8. 4-2 Cubs to the 9th. downtown skyline of Pittsburgh just framed beautifully by PNC Park. They did everything right here. And as we mentioned before, they're just trying to get the on-field performance to match the layout of this ballpark. This is one of the best spots in baseball. Right-hander Steven Jackson in his third stint with the Pirates this year. And he'll pitch the ninth against pinch hitter Michael Hoffpower to start it. Carlos Marmol will go in the bottom of the ninth. Right now it's a save opportunity with his team up 2. Whoops. Ball 1.
Hold that.
It almost bounced into the strike zone.
Almost hit the infield grass.
You can't get a strike called on that, but Hoffpower could have swung at it. And I know Vladimir Guerrero, right? He's made contact on pitches that have been in the dirt and have bounced over the plate. The 2-0 just fouled. An Ernie Banks fan, a young Ernie Banks fan in the crowd here as Marmol cranks it up. It'll be a little easier to get back to our team hotel today than it was over the weekend in New York. Long train ride there from Queens to Manhattan as Jones makes a grab and foul ground, 1 out. Here it's about a 12-15 minute walk.
If that, yeah. Although by taxi you have to take a very circuitous route. You can't just go across the bridge and right down to the hotel like we walk back. When you take a cab, it takes a little bit longer to go around downtown Pittsburgh to get back to where the hotel is. That's why we walk.
Well, we like to conserve energy and help the environment, burn some calories for all the right reasons. That's why we walk. Kosuke 0 for 3, did walk in the 5th. It's a ground ball to the second baseman, Young.
I told you before we went on the air, Len, but the bus ride over from the hotel today, we were a little later than we wanted to be. Vice President Joe Biden was scheduled to show up in town, apparently over at the convention center, which is right next door to our hotel. And bus driver went down the street, and suddenly it was barricaded at the end of the street. And bus driver did a tremendous job of backing the big silver dog all the way down a block and around a corner and got us here on time.
I thought the team bus had a motorcade over to the ballpark. Not so, huh?
No.
Two and 0 to Terrio. Here's Jackson's pitch, fouled away. Well, I know you experienced this in 2001, where you did have a motorcade in New York, and there's nothing quite like going through Manhattan, up through Harlem, and into the Bronx. And everybody you pass, they know.
Oh yeah,
they know who you are, and we just guess that there were a few hand gestures and signals made toward the bus on your way to Yankee Stadium.
A few things thrown toward the bus, but that's all right.
Yeah, that's fun. Moss makes the catch as Jackson works a 1-2-3-9. It's Marmol to try to notch the save when we come back. His 10th save. Been better at home than on the road. There's a 2.64 ERA at Wrigley, 4.09 on the road. Well, he's only allowed one home run all season long in over 62 innings. Ronnie Cedeno leads it off. Cubs leading by a pair. Fouled back. Strike one. Cubs also made a roster move today. Jeff Stevens, a right-hander, recalled from AAA Iowa. Day after Esmani Caridad was brought up. We'll see Jeff Samardzija probably tomorrow, though he's pitching for Iowa, so he won't be available for a while. And Lou would like to, at some point, see Caridad and Samardzija make a spot start before the end of the season. Cubs do have the day-night doubleheader on the last homestand against these Pirates. You could maybe use one of those guys then. One out here in the ninth as Cedeno missed the slider. Might see Randy Wells get some extra rest down the stretch with all the innings piling up. Pirates are going with a six-man rotation. Outside.
Yeah, they keep their players on a very strict innings count, especially their younger players, which is basically all they have at this point of the season. And some of those guys are approaching the magic number, so the six-man rotation will help lengthen those starts a little bit, but specifically Russ Ohlendorfer probably will be shut down at some point in the near future.
We'll get 2 or 3 more starts, and that's it. There's Joe Kerrigan, the veteran pitching coach. 1-2 the count on Garrett Jones. Matt Capps fan and a Jason Bay fan. Bay is now in Boston. Got him. Backdoor slider, 2 outs.
Well, Carlos with a good arm angle on that slider today. The strikeout to Ronnie Cedeno, and then the called strike here on Garrett Jones. Those sliders are going straight down. You don't see hardly any sideward sweep at all. That's an indication he's got his arm in a good angle. His hand is in a good position on the baseball, and that slider's breaking straight down.
Slider strike on Millage. Just don't throw him a hanger. Got him right where he wants him. Carlos ready for a 1-2 pitch. Down the right field line. Foul. The 16 last year. The Pirates a strike away from their 17th consecutive losing season. Another 1-2, another foul. Marmol was named the closer on August 18th. ball center field. It's Kosuke Fukudome. Cubs win. Ted Lilly, the first Cub to 11 victories here in 2009. Marmol gets the save. Perfect work from the bullpen. Graybo, Guzman, and Marmol. And the Cubs win on Labor Day behind Derek Lee's 2 home runs, 4